Hey guys, Real Life here and welcome to another episode of Entitled Parents. Today we have a special one where this person reflects on their past as an entitled kid and understands how it was wrong. There's also a quick one about an entitled dad who tries to cheat the system in a baseball tournament by choosing high school baseball players instead of regular players and still loses. Alright guys, let's get into it. My entitled mother tried to make me into an entitled kid, and I'm sorry. By Reddit user LA_Burkus6. This post is difficult for me to write as I'm deeply embarrassed by what happened when I was a child, but it's something that has been weighing on my mind for years, so I have to say it to someone. I'm going to be removing some key details from this story on the off chance that someone in my family comes across this, but there's plenty to share. The entitled mom of the story is mine. I'm the entitled child, and the people affected were my aunt, my uncle, and my cousin, who was like a brother to me when we were little. I think during the years this occurred, I was 6 to 10 years old. My aunt and her family used to take 2 family vacations a year. When they went away, my mom offered to house sit for them. She would come over to bring in their mail, water their plants, and take care of their cats. Not just feed, but play with them and keep them company. My mom said she loved the cats and would do it for free, but my aunt would always give her a little money and some nice vacation souvenirs. During the beginning of this arrangement, everyone was very happy, and my mom and her sister got along very well. Looking back on it though, I can recall the ways that my mom took advantage of her sister the moment her back was turned. She also had the crazy idea that perhaps her sister might spy on us while we were there. So she would cover my aunt's computer webcam and would tell me to only say nice things while we were there in case there were hidden recording devices. The entitled behavior usually started with little things, like stealing my aunt's pens. And if I saw, my mom would say, "Auntie has plenty of pens and she can always buy another. I need this pen more." This happened a lot, so much to say I thought it was normal, and would occasionally take a pen too. I don't know why my mother thought it was okay to raise an impressionable child with this mindset, rather than setting a good example. It got worse whenever we were house sitting. My mom came to the house and did everything that was asked of her, especially when it came to the cats whom she spoiled with catnip. But when she started looking for things to take, she would begin with the fridge, saying that the food would be spoiled by the time my aunt got back from vacation. That might have been true of the milk, but not the lunch meats in there, or the cookies in the pantry. I think my aunt probably had to immediately go grocery shopping whenever she came home from vacation, which had to have been annoying. I think the worst thing she always did was to take a bottle from the wine cellar. She wanted wine for cooking, not drinking. Whenever I asked her about it, saying, "Isn't that wrong?" she always told me that there was so much wine in the cellar, implying maybe a bit too much wine, and her sister would never notice this cheap little bottle was missing. She couldn't be dissuaded from taking it and always grabbed one on the last day that we were there. That's another thing that bothered me. My mom was paid and expected to be there on time on the last day, a Saturday, but never came to the house on this day. She would fill the cat's food bowls to the brim on Friday and claim to my aunt that she had been to the house on this day. I asked my mom if we could come to the house on Saturday since she had promised my aunt, but she would refuse, saying she didn't feel like driving anywhere on the weekend. I gave up trying to convince her to do otherwise. Her favorite place to find things was in the basement. She would take me down there, considering anything in the storage to be stuff that was sure not to be missed. If I liked a toy of my cousin's, she told me I was welcome to take it, but that I had to be careful not to let my cousin ever see it again. She would peruse my uncle's CD collection for music that she liked, and DVDs too. There was one DVD that I recall my cousin saw later when he was at my house, looking for something to watch. When he found it at my house, he paused mid-sentence and stared at it. I now know that he knew somehow it was his, but he never said anything to me about it. I have to accept the responsibility for the last thing that was stolen though. I like to think that after years of watching my mother's behavior that I still had a grasp on morality. But on this day my grasp must have slipped. I don't know. I was old enough to know better, but I went into my cousin's bedroom. He always had the coolest stuff on his bookcase, which he loved to show me whenever I visited. Toy cars, electronics, hardcover books signed by authors. When I was looking at his bookcase, my eye was caught by a gleam of silver, and I picked up the 4 silver dollars he had resting in a stack. I swear I could hear my mother's voice in my head. "He will never notice they are gone. He has so much stuff that he won't miss them. You deserve them more." They were so pretty, and I wanted them. I put them in my pocket. On the drive home, I showed my mother the silver dollars. She was annoyed and said my cousin would probably know what I'd done. I had a pit in my stomach because I loved my cousin. I didn't want the silver dollars anymore. They were nothing in comparison to the relationship I had with him, and they felt tainted. I didn't even want to look at the dollars anymore, and I was disgusted with myself. I asked my mom if we could go back so I could return them to his bookcase, but she said it was too late. We were home and that was the last day of house sitting. As it turned out, that was the last time my mom ever worked for my aunt. I don't know for sure if it had anything to do with the silver dollars. My relationship with my cousin, despite how close we had been as children, had been strained recently. The next time I saw him after vacation, I swear there was this moment when he stared at me for a long time, affirming in his mind that I was the one who had gone into his room and stolen from him. That might have just been my guilty conscience though. I couldn't look him in the eye. Not long after, I overheard my mom and aunt fighting. My aunt said, "I can't believe you did this. I feel so violated. I can never trust you again." Later, I asked my mom what that had been about and if it had something to do with the house sitting, thinking of the silver dollars. My mom said her sister wouldn't say what she was upset about, but shrugged it off, saying her sister was crazy. The next time my aunt went on vacation, she had her friend house sit for her instead, and she came up with an elaborate excuse that her friend owed her a favor, so she couldn't say no. My mom was a bit upset since she felt that she loved the cats more so she would care for them better, but the friend got the job that time, and every time my aunt vacationed after this. Their mother, my grandma, heard about this and yelled at both my aunt and her friend, saying that they had stolen my mom's job. My grandma even stated later that she suspected that my aunt's friend was trying to sneak into the house for some nefarious purpose. At least my mom stuck up for my aunt's friend when she heard this and said, "Mom, no, she's a nice woman. Leave her alone. I don't need that job anyway. It's over, so let it go." It's been a long time since all of this happened. My mom's relationship with her sister has gotten distant, as has mine with my cousin. There was an unrelated feud, and it's hard to be friends with your cousin when your moms are fighting, but I still have this childish idea that it all started on a day in my cousin's bedroom with those 4 silver dollars. I never confessed to him what I did, or even found out if he knew, never returned the dollars which I still have, and never said I was sorry. On the days that I miss him, I have this crazy idea that if I just handed them over now with an apology that we could forget the past, our mother's conflicts, and the years we spent apart would fall away. Maybe he would understand the insane impulses that can overcome kids, the way a mother's voice could get inside your head. The fact I never wanted to hurt him, and that I was so sorry, I really am. As an adult, I know this is all messed up. All I can try to do is be a better person now. Please don't judge me. Well, that was a really heartfelt reflection. I really hope that entitled parents know how this affects their children in the future, because like I always say, kids don't know any better until it's too late when they're grown up and have possibly developed these habits or still don't know that it's wrong. Entitled Dad Cheats the System and Loses Anyways, by Reddit user Rex Stursey. Okay, some backstory. This was a few years ago where I was playing town baseball. If your town is competitive at it, you know it is all political on who gets on those teams. So this ED, entitled Dad, decided he wanted his kid to win so badly, or maybe he just wanted to win badly, to where after they finished picking the teams, he went out and recruited 4 high school players to come down and play. This did not sit well with me, my father, coach, nor anyone else in the league. They were essentially a super team. My team wasn't bad, but with any public league, we had some stinkers. So the season is progressing and they're in their first, no duh, and we just played with them and got crushed. And afterwards, the dad comes up to my father, they were not on good terms at the time, and said, "Oh, got you today." "Yeah, I guess so, good game." Then he proceeds to mumble under his breath about getting all these good players. "What was that?" "Nothing." "My son deserves this, and this team deserves this. We played fair and square." Haha, yeah, okay. ED proceeded to storm off. Fast forward a couple weeks when we actually beat them and we were shaking hands afterward, and I happened to miss his hand. Big mistake. He explodes. My dad was not there at the time, thought that was relevant, and starts screaming at both me and my team how we did not deserve this and they should have won. It was a blowout, and mostly because his kid pitched. His kid looked pretty embarrassed, but so was I. I'm not the confrontational type, so I just played it off as an accident. Fast forward to the semifinals and the playoffs. It was us versus them, and the team was in extra innings and it appeared that they won. But on a technicality, the run didn't count, sliding headfirst into home. He didn't realize though and started showboating around the field like an ass. An inning later, we won. The look of misery and humiliation on his face was priceless. We ended up losing in the championship, but we won it a year prior, so whatever. But I'll never forget the look on his face. I honestly thought he would cry. I shook his hand real hard that time. Ooh, that's what I like to read. Sweet, sweet revenge on entitled parents. Fair and square. Alright guys, welcome to the end of the video. If you like this, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment. I'll see you on the next video and have a great day.